Okay, so this here is a part two, my two-parter of every character reviewed. If you want to know just a general little bit of information about each character, so you'll have a general opinion and feeling about what each character does, or at least learn one new thing about each character, that's what this video is going to tell you. I'm going to give you my impression of them. I've used most characters in the game, but not all of them, so keep that in mind. And subscribe if you would like to see more reasonable Genshin Impact commentary. All right, let's talk the Traveler. Now, the most common thing you're probably going to use them for is dropping down these geo sculptures, which will allow you to solve puzzles and climb on top of them in order to get geo oculuses better. However, in the next update, the wind format of him is going to have basically the Venti E that allows him to go up into the sky, which will make collecting oculuses easier as well. Now, you can beat the entire game just using the Traveler, and having a geo character is kind of nice because it allows you to get shields. I'm not very impressed with his ultimate ability. It's a little bit disappointing for me, but the E when you're in wind mode is not bad at all, and the geo mode can be nice for getting the shields, and you can beat the entire game just using the Traveler as your main character. And by beat the entire game, I'm not talking about the Abyss Spire here. I'm more talking about being able to complete all the story missions, okay? Now keep in mind, as it stands, you do have to do the constellations for both the wind and then the geo side, so he's the most expensive constellations in the game, but you do get pieces of constellations from just playing the game, as well as some of the signature stores too. So for that reason, it's not too bad to get the constellations for him. That's the only way to do it. Now, further on into the game, we're going to get more elements, so I'm sure he's going to get better as the game goes, and he's going to go from being kind of a little bit slept on, a little bit disappointing of a character to an incredible character as the game goes on, with the ability to change all his elements. So for that reason, if you pull him, when you start the game, you don't need to worry about the Traveler being a waste of resources. He is not, because you can beat the game with him if you're free to play, or you can use him as the game develops and continues to get better. Now, Beidou was my first level 40, and interesting enough, I believe that she has some of the highest burst damage potential because of the way her E works. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's this move here. And what happens is, I'll go get into a fight and I'll show you, but effectively when you get into a battle, right, and somebody tries to hit you, she has a parry-like move, which is very unique to her, that other characters don't have, and it makes her kind of feel like a Street Fighter type of character. Like when you're about to get hit, you use it and you have like a revenge type of mechanic, and typically I don't like those. Admittedly, those aren't my type of thing, okay? Normally in games, I don't really like the whole defensive row and waiting around for someone to hit you. But the way they implement it in this game, and the fact that it can tank multiple hits, so it's not just you have to perfectly time it, allows it to be a much more fun use here. Now here we have some enemies up here, and I'm going to show you. But on top of that, she is electro damage, which is unfortunate though, because electricity is such a high competitive slot, and there's 2 electric claymore users. So it's a bummer for her. You see there's the move. She gets that revenge mechanic. Now it's a bummer for her because I think that she would be so much better in such a bigger spotlight if there just weren't a whole bunch more. And I have level 1 weapon and no artifacts on her here, okay? So don't think it's unimpressive, because we're way under level for this. But it's a bummer that she is in such a competitive element, where as it stands, it's not really realistic for her element to build her unless you don't have anyone else in that element. You know what I'm saying? Like Razor is going to be a better Claymore to build. Keqing is going to be a better DPS to build. Maybe she's the better tank in the electric. Maybe that's what she's best at. Which actually brings us to Barbara. Now, Barbara is an all-around amazing character. Anytime you basic attack, you heal with her. Her E allows you to heal whatever character is currently active and out. Her constellations are all good, and if you get the last one, it does an automatic revive on whatever character just died. She is an all-around solid character. Now, she is a water element mage, meaning that she can only really apply water element. You can't deal physical damage or anything like that. So for that reason, people like the freeze guy here, right? Not so easy to beat them. That's kind of her weak spot. But she's more of a character that you use her healing on and then you switch to somebody else. Personally, I think that Barbara is probably a mid to higher level healer. I would say like a 7 out of 10 healer. I wouldn't say that she's as strong of a healer as people like Xingqiu or anything like that, but she is a 4-star free healer that you get in the game, so I mean, how can we complain about that, okay? Very good character. If you get her, you can definitely work on her. Now, that actually brings us to Bennett, who's the next character, and lucky it is that that's the next one because we're dealing with a frost guy here while I'm trying to talk. Now, if you have him, he is really good for one thing and one thing mostly only, which is his ultimate ability. Now, the ultimate ability with Bennett, if you didn't know, which I'm going to walk away here so I don't die so I can show you. Oh, never mind, I am going to die. Now, Bennett, I think personally, is mostly used for his ultimate ability. And if you look here, what it does is it continually heals people for up to their 70% total health. And that will kind of permanently keep people alive as long as he's healing enough, which is based upon his attack. So he's another fire-based character that you have to do attack with. The problem is because his heal is only the 70% and it's only in the alt form, he's not really a healer. And because he's fire, he's not really a high tier DPS. He's kind of just a little bit okay at both, you know, and not really okay at healing, just like kind of really great and then terrible because he's only good sometimes. Now, to be fair, I don't have him maxed all the way. Okay, some of these characters I don't, but a lot of them I do. Or if a lot of ones I don't, my buddy Kaeya Mobile, who I duel with all the time, maxed the ones I didn't max, right? In order for us to like kind of figure out the game a little bit. He uses Bennett a lot and actually think Bennett is quite good, but to be fair, he has quite a bit of constellations on him and he uses it in combination with other pyro characters like Klee more as a support. So he's probably a decent support if he's your only option. If not, I mean, you can do what I do with them, which is throw him in expeditions. So Amber is kind of the meme that everyone says is the worst character in the game, but her ultimate ability, I don't care. Even with the last constellation, just feels bad. You get bonus stats while you're within this ultimate ability. Look how short the ult is. And on top of that, the rain doesn't really do as much damage as you would hope it is, and it's a small AoE and it's short. So you have to ult somebody and then also be inside of it in order to get them out. I don't understand how exactly it's supposed to be that great. I think the best thing about her is her double charge bombs when you get them. Those actually can be pretty good. So I think that can be used as like a combination. You put both of them out there, you know, as boom and boom. I like that a lot. And the fact that she is a fire bow, you're going to use her like all the time in puzzles, okay, throughout the game. So you're going to have to get used to using her. But that being said, I still think she's trash. I think everyone who says, oh, Amber is great and all that, I've seen the videos where people are saying she's great. The damage is terrible. I think it's just for videos. She's still bad. I just disagree. She's still bad. Whereas in comparison, Noelle is actually amazing, but she becomes amazing the stronger you get with her constellations. The way she works is that she does this really nice spinning AoE, right? But what happens is she gets a tons of buffs based upon her defense if you use her E and her Q at the same time, and then you do this here. It does geo damage. It's a bigger swing. You can kind of see how the combo works, right? So if you actually look at her moves, the way she works is once you have these constellations, like this one here, sweeping time, right, increases Noelle's attack by an addition of 50% of her defense. Additionally, every enemy defeated during the skill adds a second. So you can just keep going, keep going, keep going. These other ones decreases the stamina of the charge attack. So again, you can keep going here. This one increases your healing. This one increases the damage by 400%. I mean, there you can see where the moves start to make sense together, as well as every 4 normal charge hits would decrease the cooldown, so you're hitting people in AoE. She becomes, you bring people together and then just sit there and do a mass AoE and you become unstoppable, basically. Now, I haven't built her yet. She is going to be the character that I build next. I'm a massive fan of her. I've seen plenty of footage of her, and you can look at the moves and theory craft it yourself and realize that she's actually quite good, and she's in the beginner's banner. So I was sleeping on her early, but I do believe she's somebody that you really need the constellations on, which is just a big bummer because she goes from being like, to like, wow. Now this guy, Xingqiu, however you pronounce it, okay? I think he's the most slept on character in the game. And I can't prove that yet because I haven't put the resources into him. I mean, if you look into it, I'm working on it. I've got a lot of characters to 80 so far. It's gonna take me a minute. I mean, I've been doing the purchasing of the resin to buy the the experience and everything, but it still takes a minute and it's expensive. So give me like another week. I'm sure he'll be done at that point. But if you look at the way his moves work, and granted, again, I'm probably talking he's slept on because his constellations make him better. That's going to be a repetitive thing you hear me say, because constellations turn every character from like something that's interesting to something that's ridiculous. And I think he is no change to that. But the reason I quite like him is that his E here puts these swords around him, and the swords reduce damage of whoever's up, okay? So if you have him paired with somebody like Noelle, who is tanky, it reduces a flat percentage. It's like 24% is the maximum reduction. So you can see, just add that on to whatever you're already reducing, and it's kind of crazy that you get that on top of it. So if you're really trying to ultra tank somebody, this character is amazing to have. Plus, he will heal you based upon the swords as well. So not only do they reduce damage, but they heal you. And he's also a hydro-based melee damage dealer, which, if you didn't know, he's the only one of those in the game. So for that reason, I actually think he's quite slept on. I haven't got a chance to prove it yet. I'm working on the hydro damage bonus gear. That's the other thing. He really needs hydro damage to be efficient. If you look at the way he works, check this out, okay? All right, gains 20% bonus hydro damage. Why would they give that to him? Well, if we look at the way his moves work, right? Normal attacks would trigger consecutive sword rain attacks, dealing hydro damage as well. So you get more hydro damage, and he's a melee dealer. Pretty rare to get that. So for that reason, you really do want as much hydro damage as you can get on it. If you check this out here, with his sword dealing hydro damage again. Now look at this. Increases character's resistance to interruption, but then 20% of his hydro damage bonus will be converted to additional damage reduction for the rain swords. Another reason you want hydro damage bonus, okay? So you really have to have the right gear to make him work. I think he's somebody that the graph's kind of like this, where it's like he's okay, and then whoop, he gets crazy with the hydro damage bonus, I would assume. Kaeya is really cool because he gets something in his tool belt that no other character in the game has, which is the unlimited ability of being on top of water due to his E. Now, I know this is the stupid meme that everyone already knows, okay? So I'll let you know something else about him, which is that he actually combos really, really well with Venti. You use his Q, which does the ice AoE around him, and then you use the Venti Swirl, bringing people directly on top of you. And it's a pretty hilarious combo. I've seen that combo used on YouTube. Granted, you can see that I don't use him myself. I believe there's other better cryo characters like Chongyang out there. Yes, I know it's cryo, but it's tongue muscle memory at this point. I'm sorry. You guys got to deal with me. I'm sorry. Okay, now we start to get into some really good late game characters like Sucrose. Now, Sucrose is another character that's really based upon her Q and her E, right? But my god, are they good? It is another AoE wind damage type of character. Wind team tends to be this way. She is a high damage dealer based upon her elemental mastery and her Q and her E, basically. You want to build her that way. She's going to be the character that I use for this coming month to help me with Abyss, as directly after I build Xingqiu, I think I got his name right, the Hydro Sword guy, I'm going to be building her next. I think she's quite good. I think the problem is you probably want energy recharge, you probably want good elemental mastery, and I think she's a character much like the mages, where she is a mage actually. I think all the mages kind of have the same problem of they scale into late game requiring better and better gear. They need the really good percentage gear, for whatever element they are to really be, applicable for their damage type. Now, if we move on to Lisa, I think Lisa's really good paired with Mona, but then I'm saying it's paired with a 5-star. You could also pair him with Barbara, which is another free character, which is great. Any electric character really that is AoE and water electric, you can pair together, allowing to do a really easy combo with it. I think the animations on her are great. She's probably the best waifu in the game, if you know what I mean. And she's fun to play, even if she is potentially not the highest damage in the game. I really don't like her charge attack. It's like this AoE, but it's kind of hard to land, and it feels very clunky. That was the reason I was building her a little bit originally, and then I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to, because when I start playing with her attacks, they don't feel very good to use. These balls there like these, they don't feel good. It's the same problem with Mona where you disappear during the attack. I actually don't like that, because not only does it feel clunky, but it kind of cuts off the animation. Like you need to shift to really get them off. Because if you do let the third one in there, it takes so long. For that reason, she kind of kills me. But her E makes it up for it because it's awesome, and she gets better with constellations like all characters, okay? You probably need constellations if you really want to play her, though. Now, moving into Ningguang, here we go with a character that is phenomenal. Once you just have her first constellation, the basic attacks start doing AoE. Now, the great thing about her is this shield, which scales based upon her stats. Now, what you can do is you can use this, and it blocks all the AoEs going through it. So it will stop lots of abyss damage, and you can actually continue to shoot through it and get bonus stats if your moves actually pass through it. So I think that move right there is one of the best support moves in the game, because you can change characters, be totally fine, attack through it. It's a wall. I mean, it's a full blocking wall. It's a Brahmi. I don't know how else to describe this thing. It's nuts. Now, her ultimate ability puts all these little guys in these auto shooting, and yes, it does pretty good damage and allows your next basic attacks to launch. You can do your charge and shoot all your huge gems and all that, which is great. Lots of damage. Kaeya Mobile built this guy, and he does do lots of damage. But I think the best thing with this is it's a geo element, meaning it affects like claymores. It breaks rocks. It breaks through shields. It allows you to have your own shields. If you want a damage but yet supporting type of geo character, that's this one, and personally, I'm kind of sad that I don't have her built already. Now, if you're looking for just pure damage, that's definitely Razor. Now, Razor is a Claymore electric user and has very fast animations, which allow him to cancel the animations after like your third hit into an auto attack, and then you shift all that and kind of quickly allow yourself to apply DPS. The other great thing about him, if you look, you kind of have to read his moves though, so let me show you here, is that the way his ult works is you get this wolf that fights with you. If you look here, strikes alongside Razor's normal attacks dealing electro damage, so it's kind of like Oz's bird, but you have the Claymore version, right? Now look, his attack speed and electro damage or resistance go up, meaning now he's better against electric, but also he does attacks faster, right? He's immune to damage inflicted by the electro charge status, great, so he can fight in water. Disables Razor's charged attacks. Now you just spam the normal attacks, okay? Increases Razor's resistance to interruption. So the idea with it is he's kind of like a berserker where you just open his ult and he goes in with the attack speed. I really like this combined with Xingqiu, because you put down Xingqiu's E, he attacks with ice, the other guy attacks with electric, shreds their defense. Xingqiu E also gives attack speed. So it's a double attack speed, and it's kind of a double Claymore whammy. The problem is then you have to build 2 Claymores is kind of the problem with that. He falls under the same issue with the fact that he is electric once again, so every other good character in the game tends to kind of be electric, but overall very solid character, very, very solid character. And believe it or not, he was actually the last character in the game. That wraps it up. If you learned something, please do like the video. If you want to see another video of reasonable Genshin Impact opinions and knowledge, go ahead and subscribe. I do my best. I literally just woke up like 20 minutes ago. I haven't even taken a shower yet, and just pumped out a video for you guys, and I'm gonna go do another one. So I love you. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you on the next video.